Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Consider the following statements. Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited was the very first iron and steel company in India. Steel is a regulated sector. The government sets annual targets for steel production. Which of the above statements is or correct? The answer to this is one only. Why? That is because when you look into the second statement, steel is a deregulated sector, which means the government does not set any target for the steel production in the country, but instead it is the individual company or individuals of that organization who, on the basis of economic considerations, decide how much of the steel production should happen in their company. So basically, the matters of procurement, operations, sales, marketing, investments, and everything with respect to the steel sector will be decided by that particular company, and it is not the one regulated by the government, which is what we mean that steel is not a regulated sector, but it is a deregulated sector, not under the custody of the government, but instead it is the private organizations and companies which decide how much of productivity should happen on the basis of techno-economic considerations. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given in this article. One of the important factual data that we have to remember, which can also be important for the preliminary examination point of view, is with respect to steel production in the world. Which happens to be the largest producer of the steel? It is China, followed by India. Then we have Japan, United States of America, and South Korea for the year 2018. And the only difference that we have in 2019 is we have Russia, where it has increased the productivity. So which are the top three countries? We have China, India, as well as Japan. Do remember this, it can be very important for your preliminary examination. Now let's look into the next practice question. With reference to Asian Development Bank, which of the following statements is or correct? It is a regional development bank which is headquartered in Tokyo, Japan. ADB is modeled closely on the World Bank and has a similar weighted voting system where votes are distributed in proportion with members' capital subscriptions. South Asia Economic Focus Report released by ADB analyzes economic and developmental issues in developing countries in Asia. Which of the statements given here are correct? Since it is asking for the correct statement, the answer to this is 2 only. Why? That is because when you look into the first statement, it says the Regional Developmental Bank is headquartered in Tokyo in Japan. That is a wrong statement. Why? Because this organization is headquartered in Manila. And where is Manila? It is in Philippines. So the first option is wrong and the option that is right is Philippines, and where it is in Manila. Now when we look into the second statement, yes, it is right, where it has a model similar to that of the World Bank, where the voting rights is about the proportion of the contribution, how much ever that particular country has contributed to the overall funding to the Asian Developmental Bank, they will have similar voting as per their subscriptions. When you look into the third statement, this is once again wrong. Why? Because the South Asia Economic Focus Report is not released by ADB, but this is one of the report that which is released by the World Bank. Since it is released by the World Bank, the third option would also be wrong. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given in this article. So which is the report that is released by the Asian Development Bank? What we have is the Asian Developmental Outlook report. According to this particular output report, what it basically does, it gives an economic and developmental perspective of all the developing countries in Asia. So what does it do? It forecasts the inflation. It gives an idea about the gross domestic product growth rates of the country throughout the Asia and in specific to this particular region. So basically what we have is the Asian Developmental Outlook report, which is released by the Asian Developmental Bank. Now when it comes to South Asia Economic Focus Report, as we have discussed, it is released by the World Bank. What does the World Bank do? This happens to be a biannual economic update. It gives a clear perspective about the South Asian region. Which are the countries which are involved? It includes Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. All these countries forecast with respect to the economic activity will be given by the World Bank when it comes to South Asia Economic Focus Report. So basically, it will give an information and timely analysis of all the key indicators and the financial developments that is taking place in South Asia. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following is are correctly matched? We have the application and its associated work. Meghdut warn people about lightning. Damini app provide forecast to the farmers. Mosam app communicate the weather information and forecast in a lucid manner. Which of them are correctly matched? The answer to this is 3 only. Why? When we look into Meghdut, what exactly does it do? It is a joint initiative of the Indian Meteorological Department. Then we have the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, and we have the Indian Council of Agriculture Research who have developed this particular application. What does it do? It basically provides all the forecast information to the farmers about temperature, rainfall and humidity. So Meghdut basically provides forecasting information to the farmers. But when it comes to the Damini application, this is developed by the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology. So what does it basically do? This happens to be a mobile based application which gives all the information warns the people about the lightning just before 30 to 35 minutes before the occurrence of this particular event. So the Damini application is about warning the people about lightning, and Meghdut application will provide the farmers all the information that is required for the farmers with respect to temperature, rainfall, humidity, so on and so forth. And when it comes to the Mosam application, yes, it does communicate about the weather information and forecast in a lucid manner. So other than the weather forecast, what this application also provides is the radar images and also about weather events happening in that particular region. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the PIB article. It makes a mention of monsoon application, Meghdut application and Damini application. Now let's look into the next practice question. Jaivik Kheti portal is a unique initiative by the Government of India to assist corporates and farmers for contract farming, to create awareness about the latest technological developments in the agriculture and allied sectors, to promote organic farming, to integrate regulated markets in the country through a common e-platform. So the Jaivik Kheti portal is basically dealing with or is promoting what is called as the organic farming. So what is this portal all about? This happens to be a one-stop solution for all the organic farmers to sell their organic produce. So what will happen? This is an interface that is created through the portal. The farmers would be able to upload and give information about their products and the crops as well. Then you will also have the consumers who will look into this particular portal, organizations and companies who will look into this particular portal, and in case they want a particular crop or a particular organic product, they would be able to consult the farmer and would be able to buy that particular product. So this particular portal is about promoting the organic farming where various stakeholders like local groups, individual farmers, buyers and input suppliers are all under this particular bracket. Why have we taken this practice question? Because the PIB makes a mention about organic areas. Now let's look into the next practice question. What is the use of biochar in farming? Biochar can be used as a part of growing medium in the vertical farming. When biochar is a part of growing medium, it promotes the growth of nitrogen fixation microorganisms. When biochar is a part of growing medium, it enables the medium to retain water for a longer time. Which of the above given statements is or correct? The answer to this is 1, 2 and 3. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given in this article. So what is this biochar? This is nothing but a stable or you can say carbon rich form of charcoal, that which is applied to the soil. So when these biochars are added to the soil, they increase the soil fertility, hold the water capacity and also increase the crop productivity. Adding biochar to all the soil increases its carbon content and also help in mitigating of the emissions of the greenhouse gases, which is why adding biochar is important when it comes to the farming. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2020. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day that we have today is what is called a Supply Chain Resilience Initiative. What is this Supply Chain Resilience Initiative? Let's try to decipher this particular initiative. It says supply chain and it also speaks about resilience. What is this supply chain? Let's say, for example, when COVID-19 hit, let's say last year, February or in the month of March, what we found was that China is the major manufacturing hub. It also used to be one of those areas of the countries which used to export number of products worldwide. But all of a sudden, what we had was COVID-19 struck the world. When the minute COVID-19 struck, the borders of China were shut. So what exactly happened? The products that were manufactured in China were not exported to multiple countries around the world, which is where most of the countries suffered. One such key sector that we can look at is the pharmacy sector. When it comes to the pharmacy sector, yes, India is known as the pharmacy of the world, but we do require what is called as ingredients to manufacture these drugs. These ingredients or the active pharmaceutical ingredients were imported from China. So who suffered? It is countries. It is not only India which suffered. Countries like Japan also suffered. Countries like Australia also suffered. Countries like United States of America also suffered. Why? Because China had become a manufacturing hub and most of these countries were waiting for the manufacturing products to be exported from China. This is where countries also realize that you cannot always rely on one particular country for the supply chain. What is the supply chain? That is export of the particular product. So in order to overcome this supply chain restraint, which was only created in China, countries like Japan, Australia and India came up with this supply chain resilience initiative. Even if there is a blockage because of a natural event or because of a human created event somewhere in some other country, it should not be a problem for that particular country, which is what is called as supply chain resilience. So all these countries came together and they have now created what is called as the supply chain resilience. So what will happen? Some of the products or most of the products that were being serviced or that was being manufactured in China will also start its productivity, and the companies whose basis was located in China and whose originators countries were Japan or Australia or India, their companies will start moving out of China and they'll start manufacturing some of the key manufacturing products, and as a result what we will have is resilience. So the initiative called as a supply chain resilience initiative is moving or locating the new manufacturing entities in countries like Japan, Australia and India, so that we do not have any hindrance going forward with respect to the supply chain. So this particular initiative makes use of supporting the enhanced utilization of the digital technology and also supporting trade and investment diversification. Why diversification? Let's not have manufacturing products in one single country. If it is in one single country, if there is any natural or a man-made disaster, exports to other countries will be a problem. So what are we doing here? We are diversifying the countries so that in case of a constraint, other countries would be able to export. So this supply chain resilience initiative will focus on sharing the best practices on supply chain resilience, holding investment promotion events and buyer-seller matching events to provide opportunities for the stakeholder to explore the possibility of diversification of their supply chains. It aims to create a virtuous cycle of enhancing supply chain resilience with a view to eventually attain strong, sustainable, balanced and inclusive growth in the region. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this initiative. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.